I missed you all very, very much. And I'm glad that you missed me. That meant a lot. I'm sorry I didn't do updates on my YouTube channel. If you really want updates as to what's going on with me, Twitter is the best place for that. I had fully intended to put updates on the YouTube channel, but I decided that I tried to be off my devices as much as possible. Because, my family wants, you want to seem present when you're hanging out with people. And, being on your phone or being on your computer is I'm sure many of you have the same situation when you are also in group situations. Ben, your 2-year badge, congratulations, Diamond Baby, I love it. Thank you very much, that's very kind of you. And yes, while there were no streams last week, there are streams this week. It's the first stream of the week. What does that mean? I'm going to gift 5 memberships per usual. I start every week with gifting 5 memberships because you guys are all so generous. You inspire me to do the same. Hold on. Sorry, I'm a little tired. I flew in and landed very late last night. Yay, there it is. It remembered my passcode. So there we go, 5 memberships. Thank you, Big League Chew. Hey, Jack. I can't believe I've been a member for 6 months. Hope you're well. Thank you for the great content. Yeah, it's very slow right now. I decided to take a little time off. Michael, thank you for your generosity as always. Hector, maybe I'll go on Threads. There's so few people on Threads. Maybe I'll try Threads. I'll try and do both. Jerome, generous as always as well. It's so great to see everybody. Let's see here. Look at all those people getting memberships. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sadie, also generous again. So just a refresher for the way that live streams work. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit pooped, and I'm a little bit annoyed that I'm delayed on my Ahsoka breakdown, and it's getting so late. It's 5 o'clock already. I filmed it, but I haven't edited it, and for some reason, I had a lot I wanted to discuss, so it's super long, so it's a lot of editing, and I really haven't had time to eat today because I really wanted I'm just a little frustrated. But don't worry, I'll get back on schedule. It'll be good. I had a very nice break. I missed you guys. You guys are all so great. So the way that live streams, I don't know, Will, for tomorrow, maybe I will do that. Maybe, I don't know. Hey, Tom, it's already so late. I guess I might as well. I made myself some delicious oatmeal. Look at this. It was actually pretty good. It's gluten, sugar-free oatmeal, which I have to tell you I thought would be horrible, but it's actually delicious. All right. That's what I ate. You're like, you seem to have an oatmeal personality today, Grace. Well, I ate oatmeal. That's all I had. I missed you too, Alwyn. Oh, I like porridge. I should call it porridge, Ricardo. Porridge sounds much nicer. All right, so the way I should have put raisins in it. I even have raisins. So stupid. All right, so anyway, Jerome, there will definitely be movie math. Movie math was just not this Sunday because I wasn't here. I was going to do a pre-movie math for you that had been pre-recorded, but I was like, nobody wants old numbers, so movie math will return on Sunday. I hardly ever miss movie math. I think that's pretty good, like every single Sunday except for very rare occasions. All right, almonds, Kareem. Almonds is an interesting choice. Interesting. All right, so anyway, the way this works, let's get on track. The way live streams work, please stay on track. Please keep your comments while we're going over the stories to the topic at hand. And until I open it up to discussion, I may or may not answer your question, even if it's a super chat. But I will open up each section to questions. That's the place to ask your question. And then, as always, at the end of the stream, the final 10 minutes will be Ask Me Anything. So if you have a question that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're discussing, well, then at the end of the day, at the end of the stream, that's the place to do it. All right, so I do have some very interesting strike stuff to discuss with you. That was one of the things I was most excited about to do with today's stream. All right, hold on. Here we go. Time to boop again. Boop. All right. Oh, thank you, Matthew. Thank you for gifting some memberships. That's very nice of you. Brian says, after watching you for a long time, I've just started doing a film course. I hope you keep inspiring future filmmakers. What a kind thing to say, Brian. That would be just make me so happy, and I'm already happy that I've inspired you. Good luck with your film class. All right, so boopity boop boop boop. So the writer's strike, it continues to be an appalling travesty of justice. It's so appalling. I don't know how we're ever going to recover from this. So while I was away, the Writers Guild rejected the producers, the studio's offer. The studio said, well, how do you like this deal? And the Writers Guild said, we don't like that at all. And the studio said, well, that's too bad because it's the only offer we're ever going to make. And the Writers Guild was like, that's not how negotiation works. And the studios were like, we hate you. That's basically the level of discourse that we've gotten to. Thanks for gifting a membership, Elpidio. So it's really bad. Now, so they said that was the only offer the studios were going to make. It came out that Bob Iger said that he was personally offended. This is like the worst thing to ever happen to Bob Iger. He just totally has ruined his legacy. So Bob Iger said he was personally offended that they didn't take the deal. And it's like, what did you ever do for writers, Bob, that they owe you? And then Ted Sarandos, it was rumored, the head of Netflix, was very worried about making a fair deal with American writers because he feels that means he'd have to pay writers across the globe fairly. And you're like, that's a weird concern to have, Ted. Why don't you just pay everybody correctly? So, but Netflix, there are some things that over the past week or so, I've been talking to some friends of mine in the industry, and oh boy, did I get some juicy stuff for you guys, and some stuff I saw online that just, the evils of the way the studios run themselves is so horrific. You just can't believe it. And that leads me to something that came out in Deadline today that said that Bob Iger and David Zaslav, stepdad Iger and Zazie, said that they were both, quote unquote, stunned how much they've been vilified due to the strikes. And you're like, really? You guys are surprised about that? I mean, the fact that these guys felt they could do this stuff and get away with it, the fact that people feel that there are no repercussions, I guess that's like where trickle-down economics has taken us, to the point where people feel there are no repercussions for anything. But there are, it's just so incredible that both of them would be like, whoa, how did we become the bad guys in this? And you're like, you did bad things. So listen to this. That's funny. That's funny, Dagai Taiwan. Rich people, man. I love that. That's great. That should be like a t-shirt. That's really, that's fantastic. But it's just so horrible. It's like I told you, I used to watch It's a Wonderful Life. I felt that, I'm blanking on the name of Mr. Potter. I was like, nobody's that mean. This movie's unrealistic. I don't like it. And then I got to be an adult and I was like, this movie hardly goes far enough. People are much meaner. Oh, thank you, AG. Very kind of you. All right, so Netflix, you know how they changed their view count recently? They said, remember they used to count it by minutes? And they were like, oh my God, look at all these minutes. This is the most popular show ever made. And then they were like, we don't really think that's an accurate description of how many people are watching the show. We've instead decided to do it. We're going to divide the view time by the minutes of the actual show, and that's how we're going to count views. Well, a friend of mine pointed out the whole reason Netflix did that was to get ahead of this because they knew this was coming, and so they didn't want to have as many minutes to make the shows look as successful. So they changed the metric totally to get around residuals. So that to me is just horrible. So they're like, oh yeah, we're changing residuals. It used to be if you watched 2 minutes of a Netflix show, it counted as a view. Now all of a sudden they're like, if they don't get to the end credits, then forget it. And you're like, how is that fair? So that's nuts. Then here's another thing. This is even dirtier, Jamie. So I saw somebody tweet this. You know how we always felt that Netflix didn't, thank you, Chris, for gifting a membership. You know how we always felt that Netflix did limited releases for their movies because they wanted to prioritize their subscribers? And they said, our subscribers will feel cheated if they have to go and see the movie in theaters or if they don't get it closer to the release date because they're paying for a subscription, so they should get the content right away. And we were like, wow, there's Netflix looking out for their subscribers. That's real good of them. Well, here's what it is. if they release in a certain number of theaters for a certain number of days, it would meet the criteria for a theatrical release according to the unions. And it would change the payment schedule and the rate for anybody involved with it. So that's why they do it. If you're wondering why you can only see The Killer like in 2 theaters in all of America, it's just so it can barely, oh, thank you, AG. That's very nice of you. Thank you. That's just so it can barely qualify for the Oscars, but Netflix is doing that so they don't have to pay anything to anybody. I mean, that is just like, wow, that is so horrific. And they're just like tossing these movies on their streaming service, and nobody even pays attention to them. They just disappear in a weekend. Now, get ready for this. This was something that came out. Steven says, so are all the studios secretly broke? What are they hiding? Well, are they broke? I think they've just changed their priorities, because here's a deal that came into the headline. This was a headline over the weekend. And a lot of people in the industry were like, how is this a headline? So I don't know if you saw over the weekend that Amazon and Netflix are in a bidding war for some movie with Chris Hemsworth and Pedro Pascal, where I believe Pedro Pascal is like a jewel thief and Chris Hemsworth is chasing him, right? And it's a $100 million deal. And when everybody saw the headline, people were like, how are you making this deal? How could Chris Hemsworth and Pedro Pascal sign for a movie if they are on strike? And the reasoning is that this is a package that was put together prior to the strike. So they're like, oh, this script was written before the strike, and these guys signed on before the strike. So I'm like, I don't think that. I think that is a clear violation of SAG rules, okay? So that's very upsetting. But then here's where it gets really frustrating, and I saw a number of people commenting on this in the trades, in the articles. They said, so Amazon has $100 million to drop on this movie, which nobody is going to remember after its opening weekend. Can you think anybody's going to be like, oh, remember that movie with Pedro Pascal and Chris Hemsworth? No, it's going to be like Heart of Stone, where people will pay attention to the trailer, but then like a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, it'll be gone and no one will watch it. They'll have hardly any advertising campaign. It won't play in theaters, but it gets $100 million. That means Chris Hemsworth can't even sell a freaking movie ticket. Oh, look, see, Colton doesn't even know what Heart of Stone is. Heart of Stone was the Gal Gadot action movie. But that means that Chris Hemsworth and Pedro Pascal are probably both making $20 million each off of that movie. But yet they can't they can't pay their writers? I mean, I just think that is horrible. Just absolutely horrible that they can just drop $100 million basically on a weekend, but they don't want to pay anybody any money. And they're claiming they don't have any money. They're like, we have no money. And then they're like, oh, 100, I must have that Chris. Nobody even watched that Chris Hemsworth, which I actually thought was pretty good. Remember he and Miles Teller were like on some island with the personal experiments? That was a pretty good movie. But nobody watched it. All right, so anyway, also that was something that was announced over the past week was that the studios have hired high-profile publicity firms to try and change their image. They're like, ooh, people don't seem to like us. Let's go spend money that we claim we don't have on a very expensive publicity firm to change people's opinions of us. Because as it was released today, oh yeah, that's right, Spiderweb or something, Mr. Magic. But anyway, they had a poll that I believe was in the Hollywood Reporter today that 72% of Americans are in favor of the talent when it comes to the strike. Hey, 80s model, thanks for gifting the membership. Let's do a poll here. When it comes to the strikes, and remember, even if you aren't a member, you can vote in a poll. Polls are open to everybody. When it comes to the strikes, whose side are you on? SAG, WGA, SAG and WGA. Well, I think that's too many categories. We'll do talent, which is SAG and WGA, studios. This is anonymous, so you can vote however you want. And then I don't care. I don't care. There we go. Give me content. All right, so you can vote. You can vote on that while we're talking about this. So 72% of Americans, according to this poll, are in favor of the talent. And that's because they're having the same fight with artificial intelligence themselves. This is something that everybody's going to deal with. So everybody, of course, is going to be on the side of the worker. Now, it was also announced in Deadline today that all the studio heads are meeting, except for Bob Iger, who sent 2 other people in his place, which just gets weirder and weirder. AG says it's so weird how the studios are trying to get the public on their side, but there are issues with the talent and the people who work on these movies. The public is still going to see their shows and movies either way. Oh, yeah, but I think that not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think that if the damage is significant enough, it could hurt the studios because there are so many options of, people could be like, I don't want, people could get upset with Netflix or Disney. I think Warner Brothers has certainly suffered because of people being upset with Zazie. I think it does have an effect, like look how Star Wars has been hurt. I think nobody wants all that. Also, I think these guys would love to be able to walk outside. Zazie gave a commencement speech at Boston or something, Boston University, got booed. I think Bob, people are going to restaurants, people are making their food, I think that's something that, like paparazzi's following Bob Iger around trying to take his picture saying, why do you want everyone's house to burn down? Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it. It used to be that studio executives were anonymous. Nobody really knew, general public didn't know who they were. That's right. I Don't Care Bear says, I bet they're wishing they could go back to the days of being faceless executives. Now everybody knows who they are. And I think it makes them very uncomfortable. But then, they should consider that with their behavior. All right, so anyway, so the studios are meeting today. They're very nervous because there is a huge blank space coming up. You think it's slow now? It's not going to get better. It might not get better through the rest of the year, which is really, really bad. Bob Iger does have Twitter, Votuli, but he's not on there that often. Thanks for the little pick-me-up there, Carter, with the little tired coffee cup. That's adorable. I love it. So anyway, I think that I was speaking to some writer friends of mine, and they said right now you definitely have a dry spell of a couple of months coming up. And so that's one thing. But then if the strike continues, you could have an even longer lag because we're very close to the entire fall season or the whole next season of TV disappearing. It just won't be ready in time. A lot of the movies are falling apart. It's just really, really bad. I've seen some people suggest that maybe the studios should break up this organization they have, the AMPTP or whatever, and maybe make their own deals with the WGA and SAG. You know how some people are getting waivers? Well, for instance, Universal could be like, enough, I don't want to deal with this anymore, and break away and sign their own deal with the WGA and SAG. Now, the reason that's not great is that the last person to the table might have to sign not as good a deal. They all want to have the same deal. But the longer this goes on, could someone potentially break away and say, I want to get my productions back up and running? But I'm not quite sure if they're allowed to break away. So it's an interesting situation. Something's got to change because they just can't keep doing this. Well, the government have to step in. Remember, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and the mayor of Los Angeles, both those individuals want to step in and negotiate this. Gavin Newsom would love that feather in his cap for whenever he runs for president, which he clearly wants to do. So, and once this leaves the Hollywood space, it's going to become even worse. So, we'll see what they decide to do. Dwight says, Bob Chapek dodged a bullet. That's funny. I'm sure he doesn't feel that way, but, at least he took everyone down with him. It's really, really rough. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments about that before we move on to the next story? No, Ross, I think that the studio, if they broke away, and why would they be ostracized by the talent community? Because they would be wanting to make a deal. That's what I'm saying. Will says you can't get the productions up without the writers. So if SAG gets a deal first, so what? The writers have suffered 2 months longer. They'll wait as long as it takes. Well, actually, Will, there are a lot of scripts banked which can't film. Like, for instance, if the SAG strike was settled, then they could get Deadpool 3 filming again and all the movies that had to go on pause. So that would be very different. But they're eventually going to run out of scripts. And also they got a lot of crappy scripts that need to be rewritten. Let's see here. Daniel says, why did Warner Brothers release a full spread in Empire magazine the day after Dune 2 was delayed? I saw that. It was hilarious, Daniel. We're not at Dune yet, but I will say that print has to be planned really so far in advance, and it can't, just like toys. All the Dune toys are probably going to come out in, are there Dune toys? But they would come out at that time. So it's the scheduling which is the issue. But that sure was embarrassing. I saw that. It was hilarious. Hamish, or Hamish, I like your picture, Hamish, says, aren't the Oscars, if they happen, going to be super awkward? So much has been said by both sides. Aren't the vibes going to be so rotten no matter the outcome? Well, also, can anyone, I mean, if this isn't solved by March, we have a real problem, you know? But I think that it's going to be an interesting field, as I said in my video that went up on Monday, because I think a lot of movies are bowing out. What's left is in a surprisingly not as competitive field. And some movies are going for it because of the less competitive field. And I do feel it's going to be very much Barbenheimer, even at the Oscars. Stephen Turner says, do you think Bob Iger will leave Disney when his contract is up? And at this point, should he even be in charge of who takes over? That's a good question, Stephen. I do think that, although, he picked Bob Chapek, so I think that's not good. Oh yeah, I'll do the poll results in just a minute. So I think that's, I really wouldn't trust him anyway. It's very, very difficult. I think he's probably sorry he signed even the extension that he does have. Okay, and the poll. 85% of you are in favor. Where'd it go? Come on, poll. It was 85%. There it is. 85 or 84. 84% of you are in favor of the talent. 11% say you don't care, just give me content. And 4% of you are on the side of the studios. I think if you're on the side of the studios, I think that's a negative approach to take, where you feel life sucks for everybody, so why should the writers and actors have a better situation? But I think it's really more that everybody should have a better situation, Oh, don't worry, Ross, no problem. Harry says, meanwhile, the video game industry is booming. It is doing quite well. The video game events seem to be doing extraordinarily well. I wonder if they're expanding their audience, or if they're just, the audience is becoming more vocal. I think also maybe more regular mainstream people are paying attention to games because there's more crossover into movies and TV. So we're like, oh, what are these properties that we might be getting into in a future date, right? And then also, again, as I said, it's just so slow. Although, of course, the video game business is huge and already has a huge audience. But it's to me, I've always had the impression that it's kind of isolated. Jason is not a Gavin Newsom fan, which does not surprise me. I know your politics, Jason. Anthony says, are studios looking to, although I don't know if Gavin Newsom's a great choice either. Anthony Mollett says, are studios looking to foreign talent writers and content to fill the gap? Well, they are looking to foreign content that's made overseas to fill the gap. They can't hire those people to do Hollywood productions. But the thing is that, Hollywood was like, I had a friend of mine who was joking about this, being like, oh yeah, the studios are like, ever heard of a little show called Squid Game? And it's like, yeah, but that's like one of like 80 shows that you bought that were foreign language shows, and none of the other ones have caught on really. So Squid Game was a very rare phenomenon. Danny says, do you think the Oscars might be delayed? No, I don't, because I think even now you have enough films to do a competition. Heather says, this shows how bad the studio management is now. Well, I think that, I've always felt that Hollywood is a really important balance between art and business, but I think they've been dipping a little bit too much to the business side. And then also, as I said, streaming just turned out to be a horrifically bad idea. Subscription streaming services are an awful idea. They're, if you don't do the a la carte setup, it just does not work. Mary says, do you think studios made some concessions because they know they will only hire one writer to tweak their AI script? Well, one of the things, I've heard that this is going to be a real problem. I was having this really good conversation about artificial intelligence the past week, and someone pointed out to me that, for instance, in the near future, instead of a human public defender, you might get an AI lawyer public defender, an artificial intelligent public defender. And also, when you go to a clinic, a hospital, you might be initially diagnosed by an AI doctor, and then you just have one human signing off on the decisions, which is, to me, horrifying. to take that. That's very scary to me. I'm very nervous about AI. Let's see here. Hey, Drew, thanks for joining. Let's see here. I'm going back to catch these. Stephen Carrier says, what will be the one thing that brings government in? If this goes on beyond, if this gets close to Christmas, I think that if it's not settled by October, I think the government will step in. Oh, Heather likes cutscenes with video games. Yeah, those are fun. I like those too. MM92 says, hi, Grace. What do you think the talent should be willing to negotiate on, and what should they refuse to budge on? I feel that they are being really reasonable. You know, I think that a lot of people who are not maybe in favor of the talent doesn't understand how bad it's gotten and how little money they're making. And while some people might say, well, a factory worker doesn't make a lot of money, why should a writer or an actor? But I think that the point is that they are vital in the creation of something that is making somebody a lot of money, so they should benefit financially as well, since they're responsible, at least partially, for that success. But I feel that's the same thing for a factory. You know, UPS drivers recently went on strike because they said during the pandemic, UPS made billions of dollars because we were the ones out there willing to complete the package delivery, and we were the ones they risked their lives, and then the executives and the shareholders made a lot of money. But what about the drivers? Shouldn't they participate in that windfall? And UPS didn't want to find out what was going to happen if they didn't have any drivers, so they made the deal. That was a very effective strike, or threat of a strike in that situation. They never actually had to go on strike. But yeah, I strongly believe, while of course executives deserve to be compensated for their efforts, and those efforts are, that compensation should be significant. I think that there should be a cap on the percentage of the earnings that they're allowed to take, and the rest of that should trickle down to everybody else who contributes to the success of the company. I feel very strongly about that. Let's see here. I'm glad you're excited about Mortal Kombat, Rashad. You don't have much longer to wait. Jason says, video games don't have to deal with all of the deals with talent like the studios. Well, Jason, we'll talk about VFX at the bottom of this stream, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the near future video game people unionize because of the way things are going. And then they'll have their own problems. They'll have to deal with the same situation. Dune Dude 19 says, by the way, I just want to take a moment. Lawson, that is an incredibly generous gift from you. Thank you. So Lawson says, do movie delays due to the strike mess up everyone's schedule for the following year? Like, how do celebrities like Zendaya promote their delayed movie when surely their schedule is full for the next few years filming and promoting other projects? Well, Lawson, everything is now delayed because they can't film right now. So that's creating a big blank space coming up. So, Zendaya is having a difficult time. Both of her movies this year have been delayed, but I think she should be okay. Her team, I'm sure, and she's such a big star, they will work with her. AG, did you just gift another 10 memberships? Let's see here. Toon Dude 19 says, I'm glad I made it, Grace. Apparently some films are allowed to be promoted because some small studios have made deals with SAG and WGA terms. Is that fair, or should they stand with the others? That's been a really big question. I feel it's unfair, although SAG says, oh, look, it's going to inspire the studios to make a deal. And I'm like, I don't see any inspiring. I feel it just confuses the situation. And some people like Viola Davis did get a waiver, but she said she wouldn't take it because she felt it was confusing and unfair to all the other talent. So I'm not a fan of it. And quite frankly, I think those celebrities, those actors and writers should feel weird walking the red carpet at film festivals promoting their films just because they happen to have a waiver. They should wear a giant sign that says, I have a waiver. Barry says, hi, Grace. I hope you had a nice break. What are your thoughts on the non-AMP2P studios? Oh, that's just the same question. Let's see here. Drew, welcome. Heather, what did Heather ask there? Jake Van Norden says, when are they meeting again to discuss new deals? There's no meetings on the books. They hate each other so much right now, Jake. Right now, the studios are just meeting today to be like, what are we going to do about this? And then Randy says, a friend asked me to be in a pilot he wrote to shop around now because he thinks it's easier to get a big break into the business during the strike. Neither of us are union, but wouldn't we still be scabs? You sure would be. I highly recommend that you do not do that, Randy. That is scabbing 1,000%, Randy. I mean, you might not be able to influence your friend, but you would be scabbing. I don't even think, unless your friend has connections, I don't actually think he'll be able to get a meeting. I don't know what his how far he is in the industry, and if he actually has connections, he might be an outsider thinking, oh, this is my chance to get in. No. And once any other writers or actors find out what you did, you'll be blacklisted. Don't do that. Oh, Jason, your personal politics are your own business, although you do make them our business with some of your comments here on the stream. It's interesting to hear that you find yourself fluid in terms of your politics. But I just said, I wasn't surprised. That's all. Let's see here. Heather says, where's YouTube in this streaming mess? Well, YouTube is different. YouTube is a rev share model. They do revenue share and stuff like that. Okay, I think we're caught up here. All right, let's go on to the next story. And then remember, you can ask me anything that you want at the end of the stream, because we have been talking about this for half an hour. Devin says, strikes aren't great. Lost job at Yellow because of potential strike. Good business equals fiscal responsibility. Changed too much, too fast hurts bottom line. That's why Iger says they're being unreasonable. Well, Devin, I'm very sorry to hear that you lost your job, first of all. And strikes are tough. But the whole reason that they're striking is because they have a real concern about what's going to happen going forward. Like you might have lost your job, which again, I feel awful, and I hope that you are able to get another job once the strikes end. But, I think they're trying to protect a future where your job is replaced by a robot, or your pay is so low you might as well not have a job. This is why unions exist. Gareth, that was very generous of you. I like your Golden Girls picture. All right, so let's move on to the next story of the day. I can guarantee you nobody is taking the strikes lightly. It's just, they're very, very serious about it. And there's a lot at stake. All right, story number 2. Boop. All right, Dune moved. We all knew it would move. And unfortunately, it moved while I was away. I was like, no, why? But we're talking about it today. So yes, during the last week, Warner Brothers moved Dune. We all expected it to move for several reasons. One being that they aren't going to have any stars to promote the film, and they wanted to have this at festivals. For instance, I saw Dune, the first Dune, at the New York Film Festival, and Venice is starting right now. So Dune could not be at Venice. Dune couldn't go to Toronto. So they were like, let's just wait. And then also, so this is the second movie that Zendaya has had moved from the 2023 award season to the 2024. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for gifting memberships. And then also, as I said in Movie Math and much of my recent coverage, Warner Brothers Discovery, as we know, has a real cash flow problem. So they already spent tons of money on advertising for Barbie. I don't know how much they have left to advertise Dune 2. And then on top of all that, they have to also run Oscar campaigns for both movies if they didn't move Dune. And I don't think, oh, that's right, Poke did. Welcome back, Poke. Poke certainly interacts a lot with this channel. So, oh, hey, Writer Boy, I'm glad you made it in here. I'm sorry you didn't get a notification. All right, so anyway, I think that, so basically Warner Brothers Discovery has a cash flow issue. They can't do Barbie and Dune in the same year. So they, not only from a box office and advertising perspective, but I also feel that they're worried about the Oscar situation. And so that's why they decided to move Dune. I was surprised that Denis Villeneuve was going around saying, like, I really want to make Dune 3. And you're like, what? Why are you talking about Dune 3 before you even talk about Dune 2? What are you, like David Ayer? Like, don't talk about it, man. Let's just, you know what? I don't care how badly you want to make Dune 3. It's going to be decided by the box office and the awards. That's all that matters. I agree with Jerome. I don't think Dune 3 is going to happen. People were excited about Dune. Then people watched it. Apparently some people didn't like it because when Dune 2 started getting advertised, everyone started suddenly making fun of it and being like, oh, we fell asleep during Dune 1. And you're like, what? That's right, David Kyle. He's jinxing it. Denis Villeneuve is jinxing it. I thought Dune was pretty good, although I don't know. I don't really feel they left it on a huge cliffhanger where I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? I'm like, nah, I could leave it at 1, quite frankly. Le Prince Conyers doesn't get Dune. Let me ask you guys if you like Dune, because Gerard likes Dune. Another poll. How do you feel about the Dune franchise? And we'll do, love it. What was that question about splitting it? Oh, Graymo says, can they please stop splitting movies into 2 to 3 parts? Yeah, I agree. Love it. 1 was enough. Never liked it. Oh no, hate it. And then the 4th was do not watch. All right, let's see here. All right, so you can vote in that poll. Remember, you don't have to be a member to vote. Even though you have to be a member to comment, anyone can vote in a poll. All right, so I saw some of you asking about the color purple. So for the rest of Warner Brothers' slate, they've got Wonka, which would have been double Chalamet as well, which also seems stupid. You can't have double Timothy Chalamet. Oh, you don't even know if people like one Timothy Chalamet, quite frankly. He hasn't tested as a box office draw. So they got Wonka, which I think they may or may not release. They might be like, well, it's Christmas. What are you going to do? Go watch it. But I think Aquaman, they're like, just get it out there. I would release Aquaman for sure. Just like, enough's enough already. They need the year break. They need the year break between Aquaman and Superman Legacy. So Aquaman's got to come out. As for color purple, I think they still have some time to decide what they want to do with that. But I think they might move it. We'll see. I saw that that Netflix movie with, was it Domingo Coleman or something? I saw that trailer today, and I thought it looked pretty good. I was like, that looks excellent. But it only played like in one theater for a day, so because Netflix does that. Rustin, thank you, Rustin. Yeah, I thought that looked pretty good. I thought that was interesting. The amount that the LGBT community has contributed to general rights, not just for themselves, but for many groups. I know that they've been instrumental in women's rights, and now you can see in the civil rights movement. That stuff's really important and fascinating. And I don't think Hollywood has really acknowledged that too much. So I can see that maybe doing quite well on the awards circuit. Jay Altman says, I'm a huge Dune fan and love it, but it's very cerebral, which isn't often commercial. Agreed. I think Star Wars is getting a little bit too intellectual. Isn't that a funny thing to say? Woo, a little bit too intellectual. Poke, yes, Poke's back. Yeah, Poke, you got gifted a membership. Everybody noticed when you got it. Steven says, what are Dune 2's awards outlook chances with March? All right, let's talk about the date. I missed you too, Travis. All right, so it moved from November to now March 15th, 2024, which means the Marvels can have the IMAX screens. It's like an hour and a half, but movies used to be just an hour and a half, so that's okay. I don't care. I do feel the Marvels is kind of a waste of everybody's time, the people who made it, the people who are releasing it, the people who would watch it, but whatever, man. I hope some people enjoy it. I don't want anyone to hate on it. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. So that was the old Godzilla x Kong date, which moved back a month to April 12th, which isn't so bad. Super Mario came out in April and did extremely well, so that's fine. So the week before, so March starts out with the Pixar's Elio, and then also The Fall Guy, which is the Ryan Gosling actioner, directed by David Leitch with Aaron Taylor Johnson. That sounds pretty good to me. Then on March 8th, it's Kung Fu Panda 4. Can't believe that's coming back. And then A Quiet Place Day 1, which is the Quiet Place prequel without the Krasinskis. And then Dune will open. Dune 2 will open. And then the weekend after that, oh, thanks, Boab, for gifting some memberships. The week after that, it'll be Snow White, Disney's Snow White, although Rio thinks it's going to get delayed. And then the week after that, March ends with Ghostbusters 2. And then, this is interesting to me, the Robert Pattinson, Bong Joon-ho movie about cloning Mickey 17. And I feel that's very similar to Dune, you know, even down to your heartthrob with the crazy hair in the lead role, Timothée Chalamet versus Robert Pattinson. And those movies are just 2 weeks apart, which would make me a little bit nervous. Hey, Quandra Williams, that's a great name. That's right, Jay. Didn't you guys watch my 2024 video? You'd be on top of the stuff. Thanks, Jay. So I think this isn't a horrible date. I think the Dune's not going to do so great no matter what month it comes out in. I just feel like Dune didn't quite work out. Let's see what the poll is, though. 50% love it. Let's see. That's right, Damani, another crowded March, but that's because March is spring break. So everybody, Hollywood feels you're on vacation, so you're going to want to watch a movie. 49% love Dune, 23% do not watch it. So it's 50 like it, 50%, only 5% of you hate it, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, I think I just, Emmett, thank you for gifting some memberships. So that's a tough one. I just don't see Dune being huge. And I really don't think, I hope that Denis Villeneuve, you know, is going to be happy with 2, because I don't think he's getting 3. Harlequin Dove says, so odd question. Dune is a political drama, which I enjoy, but there's so much real-world political drama going on now, political burnout. I don't know if a lot of people get the political aspects of Dune, because it's subtle. I think Star Wars is more clearly a political, and Star Wars has also become very political, which is also, I think, an interesting choice. All right, does anybody have any questions about Dune 2? And then we'll move on to the third story of the day, and then you can do Ask Me Anything. Chico says, does Warner Brothers have a sequel curse? They got some kind of curse over there, man. It's rough. Kareem says, I love Dune, but it was a struggle to not fall asleep. The music and visuals really lull you to sleep. That's true. Stephen Carrier says, it's the March date and not a November one, a tactic to tank the franchise and save money due to the strike. No, I don't think so at all, Stephen. March is a competitive date. And, you know, if your movie's really good and you come out earlier, you can still do well. You know, you'll still be remembered at the Oscars. Britt says, would you move the color purple? Yes, I would, because they're missing all the fall festivals, so I would move it. David says, the secret of Dune is that no one complains about the movie because everyone is asleep. Ricardo says, doesn't Zendaya have 2 movies out in March? Let's see. I forgot where Challengers moved to. Hold on. Nope, April 26th. So she's all good. Oh, you guys already had that. You already knew that. Harry said, did you really think there was anything substantial in Dune regarding the writing and the characters? I thought it was an interesting movie, and I really appreciated the production design. I thought it was, you know, unique, and I thought it was interesting. I liked Dune. I mean, again, I'm not really like, oh, give me more Dune, but I liked what I saw. I had a good time seeing it. It was like as we were coming out of the pandemic, I went to the New York Film Festival to see it, and that was kind of cool. Boab says Dune was a good lockdown watch. You're like, I can't leave. I'll watch this Dune movie. All right, I think you guys are pretty good on this. Let's go over the last topic, and then you can ask me anything that you would like. All right, boom, baby. So it turns out, actually, I apologize about this, Marvel has not voted on their unionization yet. They're set to vote very soon, but the issue is that Walt Disney Studios, so far only Marvel's in-house VFX team, most VFX is done by outside houses that they bid for contracts, which we've been hearing about. But every division, every studio has their own in-house VFX people that oversee that. And Edu says episode 1 was very political. Are you talking about technically episode 4? Maybe. Did I close the Dune poll? I did, Ivan. I did. 50%. It was basically 50-50. So anyway, so the Marvel people voted that they want to see if they can become a union. And now it turns out that the VFX people who work at the Disney studio overall have voted for. Why is it just Disney? That's Victoria Alonso's true legacy. She was so horrific to the VFX departments that she got them finally to strike. Although she, of course, only oversaw Marvel. But yeah, this is just really, really, Disney's probably like, I mean, Bob Iger's like, I can't believe it. I wonder if the other studios will follow suit. And again, this is only the in-house people, but they're going to go under the IATSE umbrella. IATSE is really pushing for this. They're probably like, so many dues, because, all these people would have to pay union dues, and there are a lot of VFX workers. So if the vote goes through, that would force Disney to negotiate a contract with the IATSE for their in-house VFX workers, which would mean it would be how many hours they could work, pay, stuff like that. It would be a game changer. One of the things, as you've seen, is that VFX people are being pushed way too hard. They work ridiculous hours. They have no downtime. And the public is starting to say, well, the quality of the work is suffering. And it's just, but yeah, that's right, Danny. James Cameron treats his VFX artists extremely well. But look how long it takes for James Cameron to do anything. VFX have become so integral. And I also think that Hollywood has become like, Milo, your joy at getting gifted a membership makes me so happy. But I think they rely on VFX too much. They're like, why actually go shoot in an open field when we can go and shoot on this green screen and just put a field in there? It's like, dude, if you could find this in real life, go find it. Don't make me build it. Like, it's just too much VFX work. You're basically watching a lot of animated movies already, which is fascinating. I talked to a friend of mine and we were like, do you ever think people would want to watch VFX? I mean, like artificial intelligent movies that were written by a robot, acted by robots, directed by robots. And my friend was like, it might be generational. Everybody who's around today might be like, that's disgusting. But, there might be generations in the future who are like, why would I want to watch a human do anything? Right? I mean, I don't know. Again, why would you block yourself out? You're a human. You're a human. You should definitely be on Team Human. That's your team. Jojo Bell says, do you think if they unionize, there would be less leaks? There might be, because it would be a cushy union job that you wouldn't want to lose. And, you probably wouldn't be so bitter. I think a lot of that comes from that as well. That's right, Harrison. Quantumania was VFX the movie. Bad VFX the movie. And Mika, I am also sick of the volume. It was a great idea at first, but it doesn't seem to make these shows any cheaper, and it's really obvious. And I agree, Negro. I'm so sick of VFX helmets. I hate it when that happens. I'm like, put on a helmet like a normal person. You build a human. You build a helmet. Ivan, I got distracted by Ivan's comment. Ivan, are you a robot? Jerome says, I feel costs saving VFX is replacing grand vision and scope in film rather than enhancing it. That's an interesting comment. I think that's probably true. Yeah, that's right, Ross. The Thor 4 helmets were ridiculous. All right, so that was a small story. Tiny story. We'll see what happens. Jason says, wouldn't all the houses want to unionize together rather than by studio? No, they would have to. First, you're going to have the internal people at the studios unionize, and then it will spread to the VFX houses. That's what will happen next. All right, so let's do the Ask Me Anything section of the day. Hold on. It's 5:53. You can ask me anything you'd like until 6:03. And then maybe I will do Ahsoka tomorrow. Dancing Dog 50, thank you so much for gifting those memberships, because then my whole day tomorrow is going to get ruined. Poke, it's so great to have you back, Poke. We love you. Although you're somehow able to get around spam rules. But that's part of your charm, Poke. Buck's Basement says, Grace, when are you going to get on the pirate ship? The hype for One Piece is real. I don't know. I watched the trailer this morning and it didn't look good to me. I was like, I don't know. I missed you too, Juan. Mika, as I said, I think the Marvels I would rather the Marvels get in and out than overstay its welcome. If they've only got 90 minutes of material, God bless them for being honest about it. They're like, we've only got 90 minutes. And we're like, thanks for not making me sit through more. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Steven says, everyone check out the 2002 movie Simone. With Al Pacino. That's right. I remember that movie, but it wasn't very good, so I don't know if people should watch it. David, I'm shooting for 3 streams this week, baby. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's the goal. John says, hey Grace, watched your Oscar video. Did you watch Past Lives? And if so, thoughts? John, I have to watch Past Lives. Because I made that Oscar video, I was like, I better watch Past Lives, but I haven't watched it yet. Josh Loves Movies says, thoughts on the Saltburn and Ferrari teaser trailers. Too much of a teaser, and they both seem like pretentious garbage. I'm sorry. Saltburn I was particularly disappointed in. I was like, what's this? Euphoria meets the talented Mr. Ripley? And also, I already watched You. That looked like You season 4, basically, when he's in England. And then the Ferrari one, I just think there was enough going on there. Rio, I would be really surprised if Snow White took Deadpool's date. I think Captain America 4 will go there before Snow White does. Marvel always kicks off the summer. Eric says, why have we seen little to no marketing for Aquaman 2? They're probably like, what are we going to do with this? Maybe, they could still technically write it off since they haven't advertised it at all. Al Watch says, thoughts on COVID cases popping up again. I'm kind of scared. Be careful, Al Watch. Stay up to date on your vaccination. Well, they're supposed to have a new vaccination coming out. Just be careful with your mask. I believe you're supposed to wear a mask. Like the bathroom is like one of the top places, like a public restroom. I always do. You should always put a mask on when you go into a public restroom. Hold on, I'm going back here. I saw a comment that I really wanted to note. Hold on, I got this thing moved past where I was. I'm coming back. Matthew says, hey Grace, I'm going through a breakup. How do you heal a broken heart? Matthew, I'm so sorry, but just know that that's a way of life. Everybody gets their heart broken. It's just the way it is. I think the best thing to do is distract yourself. Like you're on the stream talking to us. That's a good thing to do. Go to a movie, go out for a walk, and just remember that, there's plenty of fish in the sea. That's a statement that's been around for a long time because it's true, And also, it's better to be broken up than waste years of your life with the wrong person. So and don't let it fester, a really good piece of advice that my father got from his mother that he passed on to me is don't look back. Don't look back. You'll drown in the past. Just keep looking forward. Just keep going forward, Matthew. And it happens to everybody. Ethan says, do you think Marvel should do a semi-reboot after Secret Wars? No, I think the whole point of it is that it's one big story, as I've said before. Writer Boy, thanks for gifting a membership. Melody T says, is it true that the Marvels has a 90-minute runtime? It's around that. Yes, that's true. Ricardo says, loved Sam Raimi's Doctor Strange 2. Felt very Evil Dead. Any hope for the R-rated cut to be released? I don't think so, Ricardo. I don't think that'll ever happen, which is a shame. Thanks, Ragu. I think I will do Ahsoka tomorrow. Michael says, if you caught up on Murders in the Building and or Justified. The daughter went home. Maybe I will watch some more Justified. No, I only watched the first episode of Justified, and I was like, don't like this. And then I'm not Murders in the Building. I don't think, I'm waiting for the final 2 episodes. What episode are they on now? Hold on, let me check. No, stop playing. Stop playing. Now here we go. Oh, they're only on only 7's coming. Only 6 and 7 are coming up. Oh, we're far away. It's going to take forever to me to get to where I am. Daniel says, thoughts on Killers of the Flower Moon moving to 20th of October. I think that's a good idea. It's real slow right now. I think they want like Oppenheimer showed that you could open a movie like that wide and it could do potentially very well. I think doing these things really slow is not good. I think people don't like a slow rollout because they feel everybody already saw it, especially like a De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Scorsese movie. Everybody just wants to watch it now. Brett says, when do you think Beyond the Spider-Verse will get released? 2024, 2025, 2026? Also, do you think Aquaman and Snow White will get shelved? Aquaman, maybe. I do not think they will shelve Snow White. As for Beyond the Spider-Verse, maybe 2025. What a bummer. What a bummer. Toon Dude 19, I'm sorry that you felt lonely on Sunday because there wasn't a movie math. I try never to miss movie math. It'll be back this Sunday. Talia says, do you think the Hunger Games will be able to overcome the Rachel Zegler controversy? I don't know. I mean, she's singing in that movie, and they haven't even talked about that yet. I mean, wow. I don't want to sit through the singing. Let's see. Ivan says, do you think that Disney releasing WandaVision, Loki, and Mando on Blu? What do you think about them releasing it on Blu-ray? I remember you made comments about having the lack of, physical media. I'm not a physical media person. I'm like, I don't have space for all this. But I know that it's very important to a number of people, and it's very lucrative. So I think it's a great idea. Interstellar Green Bean says, did you see the Variety report that Warner Brothers Discovery is going to put CNN news tickers on their shows and movies on Max? Insane. Yeah, it's the worst idea ever. Who wants to, I mean, just think that Max, when it was HBO Max, was like this beautiful, artistic, cinematic experience where you were like, oh, I feel like they really respect content over here. And now they're just like NASCARing it up with all these logos. Chico, I don't know if I'm going to review The Nun 2. I don't know. I haven't even asked about it yet. CJ, I don't know. Young Justice season 4. I don't know, man. I don't know. What did Talia ask? Oh, Talia, I answered that. Okay. That Wiccan fan says, have you heard anything more about the Wiccan situation in Agatha, or does it still sound like a problematic Wonder Woman 1984 situation? I'm worried about it, that Wiccan fan. I feel they made some choices that I wouldn't have made for that character. Elpidio, I think The Nun 2 could be good. I think people really like horror, and I think that franchise, people seem to like it. Nicholas Corin says Saltburn looks like it was written by AI. You know, that's funny because it does kind of look like that when you say it. Jacob says, do you think there will be a second season of Ahsoka, or is it a miniseries? I think this first season is so good. I got to tell you, I'm enjoying it, but I'm a Filoniverse fan now, thanks to you guys. I think that if, it takes a while, you have to really commit to it, and it takes like hours upon hours to get into it, and I don't really know if people are going to do that. Who's a new dad? Oh, here we go. Hold on. Boab, I just spoke about that. Gramos, I don't think I'm going to be watching Bottoms or season 3 of The Morning Show, I'm afraid. And I haven't watched Miracle Workers on Max. I've seen like one episode. I do think Daniel Radcliffe is very funny, but I'm just not into that show. King Thanos, I was away with my family, so that's why there was no movie math on Sunday. But it shall return this Sunday. Ooh, Lexi, you start a new job in a few weeks and you're very excited. Break a leg, that is fantastic. Oh, I'm so happy that you got a new job and that you're excited about it too. That's great. Oh, Emily, I liked that Meg Ryan trailer. I thought it was a little sad, but it looked pretty good to me. Then they were like, in theaters. And I'm like, I'm not watching that in theaters. That looks like a very good, speaking of streaming, that looks like a good streaming movie to me. It's all in one location, so. Oh, look, MR Nugro says the pepperoni pizza heals a broken heart. Ah, that's very sweet of you. Devin, I too saw the rumors about Jeff Loveness and Michael Waldron being fired. I hope that's true. And then Charlie says, Grace, if any Pixar movie could be turned into an e-ticket dark ride at Disney, which movie would you pick? I always thought Monsters, Inc. would be a great roller coaster with the doors. Vincent says, when do you think Thrawn will show up in Ahsoka? It better not be the last episode. I talk about that in my breakdown. Oh, I feel bad it's not done. Faisal says, hi Grace, of the remaining Only Murders episodes you've seen, how many have Meryl Streep in it? She's in a lot, actually, and I do agree that when she's not in the show, you're like, where's Meryl Streep? But she's in most of the episodes. I did see the season 2 trailer for Our Flag Means Death, Kate. I thought it was really cute. I don't even watch it, But I thought it was I still rooting for those two pirates to get together. Shamar says, are the Rick and Morty writers off the two Avengers movies? I have not heard that myself, but I wouldn't be surprised. Mike says, do you think that Marvel's recent terrible movies have had any impact on people not showing up for DC's 2023 movies? Like, people have been burned too often. I think for sure. I think the superhero genre in general is having a problem. For sure. I think people are definitely burnt out. So Mike Drop says, 2 days ago I became a father. Oh, congratulations, Mike Drop. My wife, Elsa, decided on the name Anna, and she was born with Dua Lipa's Barbie song in the background. She will definitely listen to your stream while feeding. Ah, that's adorable. Sounds like you guys are Disney fans and Barbie fans. Oh, I love it. Congratulations, Mike. You sound like you're a great girl dad already. That's fantastic. Alawatch says, thoughts on Barbie IMAX re-release in September. Keep the Barbie party going. I'm excited. We're going to do our watch-along on September 5th. I'm very much looking forward to it. That's right, Damani. The Barbie watch-along is Tuesday, September 5th, the day it drops, because I know people are going to want to watch it right away. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are watching Barbie together, and it's open to all subscribers. You don't even have to be a member to join in, but members, you have to be a member to comment. But all subscribers will be able to watch. Boab, I need to see trailers for Aquaman. Danny Dumphy says, hi Grace, tomorrow is my 35th birthday and I'm watching my favorite movie, Toys with Robin Williams. Have you seen it? I did see Toys. It is a creepy, scary, but really wondrous movie. I remember the soundtrack for that. I think that's great that you have your birthday all planned. That's fantastic. I hope you have a great day. Thanks, Diego. I missed you too. Okay, just a few more. Oh, it's 6:06. That's glad. I love talking to you guys. Oh, let's see here. Big D says, Grace, any truth of a She-Hulk season 2? Again, I haven't heard anything about it, but I wouldn't be surprised. I would make a She-Hulk season 2, but I would get all new writers. Danny, I didn't see Adam Sandler's last movie, but, you know, it seems that he did a good job with the Nepo baby stuff. He seems he got away with it. Jamie says, Grace, I met Giancarlo Esposito last Saturday at the meet and greet of Comic-Con Panama. He even gave a masterclass to all the audience on the main stage. Oh, that's great. Good for Giancarlo Esposito. He's a swell guy. I've interviewed him on, for Maze Runner. I was on the press line. He was really nice. Danny says, Grace, tips on going to the movies alone and being anxious. You should never be anxious about going to the movies by yourself. It's so fun to go to the movies by yourself. You can sit wherever you want. You get a snack. You enjoy it. It's just really fun. I go to the movies by myself all the time for work. It's really, I think you shouldn't be worried about it at all. CK Walton agrees. So does Chad. CJ. I saw CJ at the movies. Jay Got Milk likes it. Let's do a poll. Do you go to the movies by yourself? Heck yeah. Nope. Heck yeah or nope. And then, never tried it, but will. There you go. It's so fun to go by yourself. Dakota likes going to the movies by himself. Danny Dumphy too. Tammy, yeah, everybody's loving it. And remember, you don't have to be a member to vote in the poll. 80%. Oh, it's going a little bit down. All right, well, you guys are voting. Let's do shout outs. Where are you? What are you doing? Let me say hi to you. What's going on? Hey, Mr. Magic in Portland. It's always so nice to see you. Jack's going to the movies alone tomorrow. Nail says, I had a theater of Everything Everywhere All at Once all to myself so I could be as loud as I wanted. Best movie experience ever. That's awesome. Emily, on my walking pad, what's a walking pad? In Utah. That's awesome. Hey Josh, editing Fortnite content for my live show. That's awesome. Nice to see you, Josh. Damani says here in the Bronx about to make chicken wraps. Ooh. Oh, Danny, why are you sad in Chicago? Don't be sad, Danny. MM92 is eating cereal, while Michael Macenis says designing Christmas ornaments for my Etsy store in Chicago. Oh, Michael, you're so prolific. I know that's not, so you have on the side, you've got a Christmas ornament business going on? That's nuts, Michael. I love it. Aloy Martinez says, just got home from work and I'm about to eat some cold pizza and watch you. Aw, thank you. Hello. Linda says, watching while Hurricane Idalia passes through. Be safe, Linda. Be safe. Let's see here. Oh, look, people giving Danny hearts because he's sad. Don't be sad, Danny. Everybody here loves you. Faisal says, going alone to see the original Jurassic Park on the big screen tonight. That sounds great. Hype indeed. Oh, Mr. Negro, you finally published your book. Congratulations. That's wonderful. Thanks, Poke. RPW Gay Foodie says, in London chillin', feeling full from a full-on takeaway pizza dinner. Oh, that works with your profile name. That sounds delicious. Everybody's enjoying pizza today. You guys are making me want pizza. BNH says, Grace, did you see the Easter eggs in the 5th episode of Only Murders in the Building with Meryl Streep inside Loretta's apartment? No, I didn't. Oh, that's a bummer. Maybe I'll watch it again. Ragu says, National Cinema Day in Ireland on Saturday. All tickets are only €4. So I'm going to do Barbenheimer for $8. Oh, I love it. Oh, SMR Goose also just dealt with the hurricane and got power back. I'm glad that's better. CJ's having pizza. Oh, it's a Pizza Wednesday. Oak Sky also had pizza. Oh, pizza for everybody. Well, Thomas says the cat wants some food. Again. That's cute. Can't say no to the cat, but you have to. It's for his own good. Daniel says, getting ready to head to the Venice Film Festival this weekend. Sad to be missing the watch-along. Will it be available at a later date? Yes. If you can't join in on the Barbie watch-along, it will stay up for all subscribers. You just have to be a subscriber. You'll be able to get it. You can watch it anytime you want. All right, everybody. Oh, Rabbi Zihi says, having pizza and looking for my lost $10 bill. Oh, news. I hope you find it. Mr. Magic now wants pizza. And then Ubersend, that's a great name, says, listening to the live while booking October weekend. Oh, what are you booking for October? Hey, Haunted Autumn. All right, everybody, I better get going. It was great talking to you. If Ahsoka doesn't go up today, it'll go up tomorrow. All right, and we'll 3 live streams. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye, everybody. Oh, let me close the poll. Jacinth says, used to do movies by myself all the time. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, be positive. I'm sorry to hear about whatever incident befell you, that you find yourself in that situation. But, I'm glad you're going to the movies. I'm glad you got people going with you. And that's a tough one. But thank you for sharing your story. All right, let's see here. Here's the poll. 77% love it. 13% don't do it. But 9% are going to give it a shot. You guys are great. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.